my friend Dave Hartill, who plays the head teacher at Rock Bottom. In June 2013, me and Dave sat in an absolute hilarious and side-splitting performance by Robin Colville and Graham Walker in the Grumbleweeds. And I later met Dave in the Red Ladder Theatre Studios in Leeds. We had a chat, and I found out he was a Leeds United supporter, Dave. I was looking for a head teacher, and the rest is history. Dave come on board, and he's the head teacher that we're now seeing at Rock Bottom. So, how are you doing, Dave?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm not so bad, Dave.
I'm feeling a bit woody this morning.
Dave, can I have the real Dave, please? Dave, I think he shook his
better.
Oh, is he? Hey, how are you doing, Dave? You all right?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Not too bad at all, Dave.
Me and my friend here. You get some for the price of one.
Is that your Leeds United one?
It's McCrowdy.
Is that the one? Ah, yeah. Somebody put a Bin Laden one in there, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I think they spotted it and got rid of it in time.
So, Dave, right. So coming up now, just for everyone to have a look. This is what you've been doing for us over the last few years, and here he is, our head teacher and former Royal Marine Commando, George Bell.
You're going to have to come into school at least once a week.
I just want to know how you expect to get a job when you're always buggering about and buggering off.
Well, I don't want to weigh on your bonfire, but Kelsey's mother's on the way up.
Christ, that's all I need.
Yes! Jermaine Beckford versus Manchester United at Old Trafford.
Right, you what? Come in.
What are you doing? Ah! You get sacked for that.
It doesn't matter to me. I'm retiring.
Looks a bit painful, some of that, Dave.
Oh, tell me about it. I think I've just about recovered. A few complaints from her indoors, but apart from that.
So,
Yes.
Dave, we picked you for a character. We had a mutual love of our football team, which always helps gets the spirit going on set, don't they? We've got Billy there at the side of us, and
Billy.
yeah. As soon as you walked in with that Leeds badge on, I had a few people, and I just thought, nah, I'm going to get on well with that one there. Well, he's got the part as that man.
Yeah.
So just tell me, or tell the people who are watching or got an interest in Rock Bottom, what you were thinking when you played the character. Just take me through his character, Mr. Bell.
Well, it was quite interesting actually, because after we'd seen Grumbleweeds, I was down at the theatre, and Robin and James were rehearsing a play. They were rehearsing 39 Steps, which is actually a brilliant play. It's based on the old Robert Donat film version.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Comedy.
Yeah.
You see it?
Yeah.
And they play four people play about 120 parts. Now, we've been to London to see it, and then they decided we're going to do it at the Academy. So they were doing it. They were having a rehearsal, and I popped in and ended up reading in because somebody was missing. And then Robin sidled across and said, "You can act a bit." I went, "A bit?" And he said, "A friend of mine's doing a film. There's a part for you. You'd be right for it." What's it about? So he sort of told me very briefly. And he said, "It's a headmaster." And he said, "What?" I said, what does he do?" And he said, "Well, one of the things he has to do, he has to have sex with his secretary up against a dump truck." And I went, "Maybe not. No." I went, yeah, okay.
I've got that clip coming up now, Dave. Just there with you. Is your wife in, right?
Yeah, that's the one. Anyway, I said, "No, I don't think so." Anyway, a few days later, I was talking to James, and he said, "Why don't you ring him and just see what happens?" I said, "Go on, man." So I rang you, and then we arranged to meet, and I said, "I'm not doing that." And we said, okay, we'll work our way around that to show his affair with the secretary in a different way. So, okay.
But that,
So-
I mean, that plot line, I mean, luckily for you, Dave, because it was quite embarrassing, that plot line. I mean, our hard drive went and all that footage has gone with it. It was quite a funny scene, which
And it took me a while to get that hack into your system to get rid of it.
I mean, it was quite a funny scene where you was having an affair. And we actually did film it. The kids, you know, you're right back at Scott and you were whispering sweet nothings in each other's ears. We did
a short scene in the back of Robin's
car. That's right. Yeah. And kids were looking through a window, weren't they? And
that's it.
You woke up, but yeah, but luckily for
nothing
you,
against Trace, she's a lovely girl, but
yeah,
I didn't think that was right for me.
No, yeah, and when you actually put it together, I don't think it actually fit the character. So I'm quite glad that scene went actually.
No, not really. Yeah. Not really. I suppose he had strong principles.
He did. He was principled.
He was a principled guy. There was an arrogance about that character, and as he got further into, further affected by the way the kids were about the social circumstances they were working in, that edge started to drain away.
Yeah,
and he started to have sympathy.
Yeah,
and from that, then he started to be more proactive in doing something positive for them rather than being the disciplinarian. And it's quite a big shift.
Deep down underneath that, he had a heart.
I think that there was an interesting correlation with Jimmy's character, Cappuccino, because from the film you see that while he isn't necessarily a positive role model for kids at all,
no,
because he'd rather just clip them around the ear hole, chuck them in just to get the numbers up.
Yeah,
because he was backside covering.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The boss was in that mode to start with, till he realised the impact that social conditions were having on these kids and what was making this happen. Yeah, and then that's when he started to shift.
Yeah,
because we had this thing where we chase the lad down the road and they're clipping him round the ear hole and all that. There's no sympathy in that.
Yeah,
but then when he gives him the box of fruit and veg, you know, there's been a Damascene moment there, hasn't there?
There's been a transfer, haven't we? And I think that what it from then on. Then I don't think you ever saw any kind of real nastiness to him. He was always fighting for the young ones, wasn't he? And you know, so I mean, how did that play out with yourself, Dave, from an acting point of view?
It's not a particularly difficult thing to do because and particularly as we're working at it over a period of a number of years.
Yeah,
you know, the difficulty was trying to remember where you were.
Yeah,
in the sequence.
Yeah,
you know, trying to fit the sequences together. So, but from that point of view, the first one is fairly straightforward. You know, go around bullying people, kicking people. The sympathy bit is slightly more difficult to do, and it can be done overtly.
Yeah.
Well, have a box, but it can also be done covertly by the softening of tone, the softening of look, etc.
Yeah, one of the things I'm thinking about is that character. Initially, I mean, I think I spoke to Bobby Nutt to start with before he went off to Bennett. He went off to better things in Benidorm, did Bobby. And I was kind of thinking of the old school head teacher. And when I started that business off, there were quite still a few of them out around, you know, like the ex-games master, and we kind of got on really well with them. I got on really well with them type of people, but what I found is I'm slowly kind of going, and I saw sort of George Bell's role of kind of just becoming outdated in that particular profession with that old school approach. In fact, he had a pupil referral unit, and there were kids running about everywhere. That was very realistic. It round about 2004, you know. There were kids, you know, chucked about all over the place, you know, for statistical purposes and to control them. And I think kind of George's role made me think that he wants to get close to these kids. He wants to understand what is actually going on there. And when he's got to the point where they're pinching his eggs and stuff like that, they've completely won him over a number of years. And
Yeah, because he doesn't react to that in the way you would expect.
No.
You would have expected the original character to react.
Yeah,
He would have been lashing out,
That's right.
and he wasn't.
Yeah.
And he said he's letting him have them. But this goes back a lot of ways to my own education. When I was at the local grammar school, we had some wonderful teachers. They were very good teachers. It was a good school, no doubt about it. It was a good school. But a lot of the teachers were there because teaching was their profession, it was their job.
Yeah.
And they were there to make you learn. And that was the point. They made you learn.
Yeah.
We had one teacher who was an absolute sadist, and we all hated him. And I never learned a thing off him.
Yeah. And I think from my point of view as well, is I'm pretty delighted that it actually got to a stage where Amazon Prime and take it, because there's loads of that scriptures has been lost. There's the retakes have been lost. The whole pandemic thing kicked in, and it would all going south. I didn't think it'd ever get out there. I just thought to myself, I know this lot kicked off last year. I think we finished filming on 28th of February. And I said there's a few bits and bats to do here, the odd scene, and there was just absolutely no chance of us getting them done. And I looked in there, and my lad's nearly 6 foot now. Katie and AJ are passing the driving. He's pinching my socks and me aftershave, and all the kids had just grown up. And
precisely.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing you can do. So I had to get around it with the edit. And,
I've got to say, I mean, I've watched the whole thing through, and I think it works really well. Yeah. I think your editing is very clever, the way you put it together, and the message is clear.
Yeah.
And I think partway through we sort of started to wonder whether we were making at one point could we turn this comedically somehow?
Yeah.
Maybe not. And then it became a full-blown drama with some comedic edges.
I always find that as well. The comedy bits are the ones that you're least expecting. They're a little bit.
They come out of left field.
Yeah, they just come.
I love the bit before the football match when Robin's come along with the bag full of dog muck.
Yeah.
And he put it on the table.
But most of that, if you actually look at that, most of that were just pretty much decided up day.
It was, yeah, spur of the moment.
It wasn't scripted any of that, and it was just something natural that people did. And I think when you're trying too hard, it's very difficult to get comedy across because it needs a time, it needs a natural kind of.
But it's something that we use a lot in pantomime, funnily enough, because James and I very much involved in pantomime, and we always say you've got to have drama in your pantomime. You've got to have darkness.
Yeah,
you're not going to scare the kids witless, but you've got to have some darkness to contrast with the comedy and the lightness.
Yeah,
this is the other way around. This is a pretty serious piece.
Yeah.
So you need moments of lightness to contrast all the darkness.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we did. That's what we did. I love that bit when he drops the dog book on the table and walks off, and George just goes, "Enjoy."
I bet you can guess which my favourite bit is. I like it when he's got excited and he's talking to kids, and he's just saying the obvious. It's like he's just running up, right, pass the ball, tackle.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't know what to do with ball, just put it in their net as though he's giving some right good excuse. And he gets right excited. He stood out there on pitch, and there's a Manchester United supporter who's the other coach. And I just
not allowed to say that. Not allowed to say that.
I think that was just right up your street.
It was.
I mean, it was tailor-made for you. That walking around.
And the irony is, Chris, who was playing the Manchester United coach, is a Leeds United fan as well.
He is, isn't he? Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to wear that, am I? Sorry.
Yeah. He didn't look comfortable up there, did he?
No, he didn't. Bless him. But I said to him, it's actually a funny thing because I've directed Chris in various productions before now. Yeah. And a lot of years ago, a guy was directing me in a production. There was another fellow in the cast, John, who was an older fella, but he was the clown. He was always the clown. In everything we did, we ended up clowning around together. And the director looked at me one day and said, "You're his apprentice." Yeah. So when I started directing Chris, I said, "You're my apprentice."
Everybody did a fantastic job, and I want that's just something I want to move on to. Right? Is I've got this theory, and when I did the first kind of production, which was similar to this, which was a boy called Bremner, everybody just seemed to come together, and I think there's a phenomenon, right, which I call a Leedsness. Right, you know, when Leeds United supporters get together, they talk about the passions, and there's like a shared energy almost, and it creates
it's
something.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I go, as you know, I do a bit of work at Ellen Road with the tours,
Yeah.
and at the minute I'm doing some volunteering at the vaccination centre a couple of times a week on Tuesdays and Fridays. Do 4 hours in the morning, and every time we see a Leeds United fan come in, we have banter.
Yeah.
You know, and we look after each other, sort of thing. And wherever you go, and you go to the away games, it's like being in a family. We see the same people. You know, we talk. Hey, how you doing? You know, what do you think about this? And we get together on a regular basis.
Yeah,
it's like being in a massive family.
Yeah, I feel like that.
Definitely.
Yeah, I went round. I went on a tour around Europe when my wife was studying to do a nursing. She got sick, and I'd always wanted to do this Second World War tour. So I got one of these young people's rail tickets. I've been about 27 or something like that. Got my bag on, and just went everywhere with a Leeds shirt. And I don't think there was a single place where that wasn't a conversation starter, because I had that particular shirt on. There was always somebody. We're talking. I went in Krakow in Poland. I went to visit Auschwitz. I went all over these places across Europe, and there wasn't a place where somebody didn't come up and converse with me or start talking about the city. Which brings me on to me. He's back. He's back. What happened then?
I'm here. Oh yeah, I'm going anywhere.
Your internet connection is unstable. Yeah.
No, it's me that's unstable.
I've got a lad downstairs. He's putting me. He's back again. He's back again.
We're stable.
He's back again. I've got a lad downstairs. He's putting me a fire in. Can you hear him?
Yeah. Is it a burning issue?
Yeah. Hey, boom, boom. I'll get my boxing gloves out in a minute, Dave. I'm going to go down there. If he carries on with that racket down there, I'm not having that. Typical, isn't it? You try and do an interview on a Saturday morning, anybody turns up on a Saturday morning.
Hey, you have to hurry up. The kick-off in less than an hour.
Oh, hellfire. Right, I'm off anyway, Dave. So, Dave, I'll wrap the interview up now, and I'll just say, great talking to you again, and thanks for your contribution to the production. You've done an absolutely outstanding job there. That goes out now, and I think it's more about awareness, as far as I can see it. Anyway, we've all done his job. We put it out there. Public watch it. There's not a right lot we can do about we can do about the issues in there, but people are watching it. And if
it makes people aware.
Yeah, if that brings people.
Give me a bus for the next one. Yeah. Let me know when you want anything else.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll just see you later, Dave. Bye, Dave.
Bye, Jason.
Bye.